Tonight is a community service of the New York Institute of Technology.
Covering the news of Nassau and Suffolk Counties, Long Island News Tonight with Ken Eckhart, Carol Peck, and the award-winning LI News team.
Good evening. I'm Ken Eckhart, and here's what's happening. A Long Islander claiming to be an adoption expert who stole $300,000 from prospective parents for babies that didn't exist has been sentenced up to 20 years in prison. Prosecutors say Roslyn attorney Kevin Cohen scammed hopeful couples with fake sonograms and fictitious records on forged stationery from hospitals and doctors. 13 prospective parents testified against him at his 3-week trial. Cohen, who represented himself, said during the trial that he suffers from multiple illnesses, including bipolar disorder. He was convicted last month of grand larceny, forgery, and other charges. A Long Island man has been found shot to death in his apartment. Police say the victim was found last night by his landlord on the stairs inside his apartment on Wynona Avenue in Lindenhurst. The victim has been identified as 46-year-old Alex Polanco. He was pronounced dead at the scene, and homicide squad detectives and an autopsy has determined that he has been shot to death. Well, if you drive, you already probably noticed that gas prices are going up. Wall Street analysts say the economic recovery is fueling higher crude oil prices, and that's raising the price of gasoline at the pumps. According to AAA, the average price for a gallon of regular gas on Long Island is now $2.95, 32 cents higher than it was a year ago. And a Lundberg survey says Long Island now has the highest gasoline prices in the nation. We asked motorists how they feel about that.
What are you going to do? I mean, I'm sure it's not that much higher than in other places. And if you go to Europe, gas prices are like double what we pay. So I don't mind paying the difference. It would be nice if it was more equal, I guess.
It's ridiculous. It's too much money. I can't afford it. Pretty soon I'll be taking transportation.
Doesn't bother me a bit. Whatever it's going to be, I'll pay.
Really?
What are you going to do?
I feel it's terrible, but not unusual. Long Island has the highest prices on practically everything in the United States.
Well, even as the price of a barrel of crude oil goes up, analysts are mixed about whether gasoline prices will hit $4 a gallon. Some say investors are driving up the price of crude oil because the economy is improving. Others say our stockpiles of crude are climbing because fewer people drive this time of year, and they say that could help keep prices from rising too high. Well, 69 years after Japanese planes bombed Pearl Harbor, survivors of the attack gathered today at the base to remember those killed. Some 100 survivors, the youngest of whom are in their late 80s, traveled from around the country to attend today's ceremony. It was held across the harbor from the USS Arizona, which sank in the attack, and where the remains of nearly 1,000 sailors and Marines are still entombed. The survivors were welcomed at a new $56 million center for visitors, and they took a boat out to the memorial that sits on top of the battleship. The new center has twice the exhibition space as the old one, which officials say offers a deeper understanding of the attack. The Nassau County Police Crime Lab has been placed on probation following a recent review. The American Society of Crime Laboratory Directors and Accreditation Board says it found 15 problems with the way the Nassau County Police Lab operates. Among the problems were a failure to comply with procedures on maintaining equipment and instruments, failure to properly document procedures for record storage, and failure to properly provide the board with a report of the department's internal yearly review. Of nearly 400 accredited labs, it's reported Nassau is currently the only one in the country under probation or accreditation revocation. Well, no one can describe the horrors of the Holocaust better than those who lived through it. But with each passing day, the number of surviving Holocaust victims decreases. And that's why many of those survivors who are still around are trying to tell their story to as many who will listen, including Evelyn Pike Rubin, whose family was forced to flee Germany.
It's very important that the story be told of all survivors, not just survivors in Shanghai, but the concentration camps and hidden children, so that the future generation will know what happened during this World War II, and we must never, never forget.
College student Eliezer Seidenfeld says he wants the stories of the survivors to continue to be told as long as they can.
Out of our way to make these organizations to show people that it can be forgotten. There are deniers today, and the Holocaust survivors are now passing on. So with time, it may be forgotten. Therefore, it has to be pushed.
Well, stay with us immediately following the news tonight for NYIT Roundtable. Tonight, host Dana Arshan will talk with Holocaust survivors, whose goal is to make sure the world never forgets the horror that they witnessed. When the family of an 80-year-old woman with Alzheimer's disease went to police to find out who had stolen the woman's credit card, it turned out they recognized the suspect who had been caught on surveillance cameras. It was the woman's home health care aide. Police say the family found thousands of dollars of questionable purchases on the elderly Bayport woman's credit card statement, and the card was missing. Store surveillance photos revealed it was 31-year-old personal care aide Lynn Sproul of Bellport who was using the card. Sproul was arrested yesterday when reporting to the woman's home for work on charges including larceny, forgery, and possession of a controlled substance. Well, after spending most of the day in positive territory today, the Dow finished the day down just over 3 points. NASDAQ was up 3.5 points, and the S&P was up under a point. NYIT's LI News Tonight continues after this.
See a screening of the film American Beauty at New York Institute of Technology's D. Seversky Center in Old Westbury on Wednesday, December 15th at 6 p.m. For more information, call 516-686-7567. The author of Black Grass will be discussing his book at the Holocaust Memorial and Tolerance Center in Glen Cove on Sunday, December 19th from 1:30 till 3:30 p.m. For reservations, call 516-571-8040, extension 104. The Freeport Community Chorale will hold a holiday concert at the Freeport Memorial Library on Sunday, December 19th at 2 p.m. For more information, call 516-379-3274. Or check out the Winter Warmth Art Exhibit at New York Institute of Technology's Gallery 61 in Manhattan, Monday through Saturday until January 18th from 9 a.m. till 5 p.m. For more information, call 212-261-1562. If you have an event you'd like included on the LI News Tonight community calendar, send it to linewstonight@nyit.edu.
Press play to start your future. Learn the industry. Use the technology. Become an expert in television reporting, journalism, radio, digital film, public relations and advertising, television production, digital graphics, a beautiful state-of-the-art campus, a road to the job you've always wanted, in the media capital of the world. Communication Arts at NYIT. When can you start?
And some stories from around the world today. A British judge has denied bail for WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange, who told a London court he intends to fight his extradition to Sweden on sex crime allegations. The judge told Assange that he had substantial grounds to believe the 39-year-old Australian wouldn't turn up for subsequent proceedings. He then put Assange into UK custody ahead of extradition hearings. Assange faces allegations of sex crimes in Sweden. He denies the accusations. Nobel Peace Prize organizers say China and 18 other countries have declined to attend Friday's ceremony honoring Chinese dissident Liu Xiaobo. The Nobel Prize Committee says embassy representatives have said they won't attend Friday's ceremony, including those from Russia, Pakistan, Serbia, Iran, Venezuela, and Cuba. China was infuriated when the committee decided to give the prestigious Peace Prize to Liu, who's serving an 11-year prison sentence for subversion after co-authoring an appeal calling for reforms to China's one-party political system. Chinese officials are calling Liu's supporters clowns in an anti-Chinese farce. And the Simon Wiesenthal Center's top Nazi hunter says he's skeptical any charges can be filed against a 97-year-old former SS officer who allegedly admits his signature is on an order to kill thousands of Jews. It's reported today that Bernhard Frank allegedly admitted to an American private investigator that his signature was on the extermination orders. But the Wiesenthal Center official says his office's research found many signatures on the document. He says Frank had only signed off on the language used in it rather than giving the order. Germany's office that investigates Nazis says it's aware of Frank, but not of any accusations of crimes that can be prosecuted. Well, over the past 3 decades, the space shuttle has been America's primary vehicle for sending astronauts into space. And a couple of former shuttle astronauts were on Long Island recently to share their space flight adventures with students. Elizabeth Zumba has more.
2 former Long Island astronauts share their space shuttle experiences at the Cradle of Aviation Museum in Garden City with students from Wantagh, Freeport, and Westbury. According to former shuttle commander Bill Shepard of Babylon, his mission on Expedition 1, the International Space Station, was challenging because he was in space for more than 141 days.
Well, I flew 4 flights, 3 on the shuttle and 1 with the Russians. And it's called International Space Station. It's up flying now, and it's hard to describe, but it's a whole different way of living, being an astronaut and flying in space.
Mary Cleve graduated from Great Neck North High School and was the first woman from Nassau County to fly in space. She went into detail about how she got started in her field.
To prepare before I was hired as an astronaut, they were looking for scientists and engineers to work in the space shuttle program, and I started flying when I was 14.
Astronauts were here in the Cradle of Aviation Museum to answer questions to Long Island students about space flying.
Do you ever get second thoughts before going into space?
I think everybody works so hard to get ready to go. I mean, it took me 5 years to get my first space flight. I just wanted to go.
This visit was part of an ongoing program to get kids excited about science. In Garden City, Elizabeth Zumba, LA News Tonight.
Well, we had a mostly cloudy and windy day today. The high was in the mid-30s. Tonight, partly cloudy with a low in the upper 20s. Tomorrow, mostly sunny with a high in the mid-30s. Thursday, a sunny day with a high in the low 30s. Friday, cloudy with a high in the low 40s. And the outlook for Saturday, partly cloudy with a high in the low 40s. And that's it for NYIT's LI News Tonight. I'm Ken Eckhart. Thank you for watching. We'll see you again tomorrow. Have a good night.